The first time I saw the note, my whole body went cold, like somebody poured water on me. It was small, folded, and hiding inside the pocket of my brother's old shirt. I had just decided to wash it after 2 years of wearing it every night. I never expected to find anything there. I only wanted the shirt to smell fresh for once. But that paper changed everything I thought I knew about my life. Let me go back to the beginning. My name is Adaeze, and my brother's name was Chijioke. He died 2 years ago in a car accident on the same night he was bringing me a birthday gift. Before that night, I used to believe God loved me extra because he gave me a brother like him. But after the accident, I stopped being sure of many things. I stopped laughing the way I used to. I stopped wearing bright colours. And every night I started wearing his blue shirt to sleep. That shirt became my own way of breathing. It was old, soft, and a little torn near the collar. But it smelled like him. I could close my eyes and imagine he was sitting beside me, calling me small madam the way he always did. My mother said I should let the dead rest. My boyfriend, Emeka, said it was not healthy, but I didn't care. The shirt was the only thing that didn't lie to me. It reminded me that Chijioke was real, not a dream that disappeared. Every night I wore it and slept like a child, but one evening after heavy rain, I touched the shirt and felt how dirty and stiff it had become. It was smelling like sweat and dust. My heart squeezed because I didn't want to wash it and lose that last scent of him. But something in me said maybe it was time. Maybe I was beginning to heal. So I went outside, fetched water, and sat on the low stool near the basin. As I dipped my hand inside the pocket to check for anything, I felt paper. I pulled it out, thinking it was old tissue. But when I opened it, my breath stopped. It was my brother's handwriting. I recognized it immediately because of how he used to curve his letter A. The words were short but strong, like they were waiting for me all this time. That was the moment my heart began to shake again, because I knew that even though my brother was gone, something he wanted me to know was still alive, hiding inside that shirt all along. When I finished reading the note, my hand started shaking so much that I dropped it inside the basin. I quickly picked it out before the water could touch it. My heart was beating fast, like I had just caught a thief. The paper was thin and brown at the edges, but the words were clear. It said, "If anything happens to me, ask Mom about Obinwa. Don't trust her silence." I read it again, and it didn't make sense. What did my mother have to do with anything? And why would my brother write something like that? I sat there staring at the words until the water in the basin became cold. I didn't even remember to wash the shirt again. I just squeezed it, hung it on the line, and sat on the stool staring at the sky. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking of the name Obinwa. That was my father's name before he died. My mother hardly ever mentioned him. She always said he was a complicated man and that it was better to let the past stay buried. But now my brother's message was pulling that past back to life. By morning, I made up my mind to ask her. She was in the kitchen frying plantain when I walked in. I told her I found a note in Chijioke's shirt. I told her what it said. The way her hand froze over the hot oil told me she knew exactly what I was talking about. The plantain started burning, but she didn't move. I waited, hoping she would explain, but she just said I was reading too much meaning into a joke my brother must have written long ago. She said I should throw the paper away and stop disturbing myself. But something about the way her voice shook made me sure she was hiding something. My mother was a strong woman, but she only trembled when she was afraid. After that morning, I began to watch her closely. Sometimes I caught her staring at me like she wanted to say something, but then changed her mind. 2 days later, I went to her room while she was outside washing clothes. I started checking her old handbags, the ones she kept under her bed. That was when I found an envelope. My chest tightened as I opened it. Inside, there were papers from a hospital. I didn't understand everything written there, but one line made my whole body weak. It said, DNA test result, non-match. I sat on the floor holding that paper, my head spinning. My brother and I did not share the same father. That was the secret my mother had been hiding, the one that made my brother write that note before he died. And now I began to understand that the night he had that accident was not as simple as I thought. I stayed on the floor for a long time, holding that paper, reading it again and again. My eyes were blurry from tears, but I still kept reading as if the words would change if I looked at them long enough. DNA test result, non-match. Those words kept echoing in my head like drum beats. My heart felt like it was breaking in two. My brother, my Chijioke, the one I loved more than anyone, was not my father's son. I started thinking of all the times he called me his little sister. The way he used to protect me from bullies in school. The way he would brag that nobody could hurt his Adaeze. It made no sense that we were not truly from the same blood. It felt like someone was trying to erase my whole childhood. That evening, I waited for my mother to come inside. She saw the envelope on the table and froze. Her eyes met mine and I could see fear there. I told her I knew the truth, that I had read everything. She sat down slowly and began to cry. It was the first time in years I had seen her cry. Then she started talking. She told me that before she married my father, she had loved another man. That man was Chijioke's real father. He travelled abroad, promising to come back for her. When he didn't, her family forced her to marry my father, Obinwa. But 1 month before her wedding, she found out she was pregnant. She thought nobody would know, so she went ahead with the marriage. For many years, nobody suspected anything. But one day, my brother overheard something. He found out the truth on his own. My mother said he got angry, felt betrayed, and stopped talking to her for a long time. On the night he died, he had come to see her after many months. She said they argued, and he stormed out into the rain. He was driving too fast when the accident happened. As she told me all this, I felt my stomach twist. I didn't know whether to feel sorry for her or hate her. My mother's secret had destroyed everything. My brother died carrying a pain that I never knew existed. I walked out of the room and sat outside on the veranda, staring at the dark sky. The air felt heavy, like the world itself was mourning with me. I started to wonder if my brother's spirit was still restless, if maybe that was why I found the note now. Maybe he wanted me to know what really killed him was not the accident, but the truth he couldn't live with. The next few days felt like I was living inside somebody else's life. I still went to work, I still smiled when people greeted me, but my heart was not there. Every time I looked at my mother, I saw a stranger. I could not stop hearing my brother's words in my head. Don't trust her silence. Those words followed me everywhere, even into my dreams. One evening, I sat on my bed holding the blue shirt. It was clean now, smelling of soap instead of him. I pressed it against my face, trying to imagine his voice, the way he used to tease me. For the first time, I didn't cry. I only felt empty. I wanted to hate my mother, but deep down, I knew hate would not bring him back. Still, I needed to understand more. I went back to my mother's room again. She didn't stop me this time. She just sat on the bed, watching me quietly. I asked her to tell me everything, not just the short story she gave me before. She sighed and began to talk again, this time with more truth. She told me that when Chijioke found out about his real father, he didn't just get angry. He went to look for the man. He found out he was still alive and living in Lagos with another family. My brother travelled to meet him. The man denied him completely, said he didn't know any woman named Neka, my mother's name. My brother came back broken. He told my mother she had ruined his life, that he no longer knew who he was. That was the day he took the car and left. He didn't even take his phone. My mother said she waited all night, praying he would come back. The next morning, police came to the door. As she spoke, tears ran down her face. For the first time, I saw how tired she looked. She was not the strong woman I grew up with. She was just a mother who had made a terrible mistake and had been carrying it like a heavy stone on her chest. I wanted to stay angry, but I couldn't. Later that night, I sat outside under the moonlight. I thought of my brother and all he went through. I realized he didn't write that note to make me hate our mother. He wrote it so I would know the truth she couldn't tell me. Maybe he wanted me to understand that silence can kill, just like a lie. That was when I decided that no matter how painful it was, I would forgive her. Because holding anger inside me was like wearing that shirt forever without ever washing it. It only keeps the pain alive. The morning after that long night, I woke up feeling different. My eyes were swollen, but my chest felt light, like I had dropped something heavy without knowing. For the first time in 2 years, I didn't reach for the blue shirt immediately. I sat on my bed staring at it where it hung on the chair. The sunlight touched it through the curtain, and I remembered how much that shirt used to comfort me. But now it felt like it was waiting for me to say goodbye. I took it down slowly and folded it neatly on my lap. The cloth was soft, warm from the sun, and full of memories. I started to think about how much my brother had carried alone. The secret, the confusion, the pain of finding out who he really was. He didn't get to live long enough to find peace, but maybe I could. Maybe that was what he wanted me to do when he left that note. I went to my mother's room and found her sitting quietly by the window. She looked up at me like she was afraid of what I would say. I sat beside her, and for a while we didn't talk. Then I told her I understood. I told her that even though what she did was wrong, I knew she didn't mean for it to end like this. She began to cry again, holding my hand tight like she didn't want to lose me too. We sat there for a long time, crying together. Two women who loved the same man in different ways and both lost him. A few days later, we went to visit my brother's grave. The grass around it had grown tall and the writing on the stone was fading a bit. I cleaned the stone with my hand and placed a small flower there. I told him I found the note, that I knew the truth now and that I wasn't angry anymore. I told him I forgave everyone, including him, for leaving me too soon. It felt like he was listening, like he was right there smiling. That night, I didn't wear the shirt. I folded it and kept it inside my drawer, right beside my Bible. When I lay down to sleep, I felt scared at first, like I would wake up in the middle of the night searching for it. But I didn't. I slept through till morning. When I opened my eyes, the world looked new. The pain was still there, but it was softer, like a scar that no longer bleeds. I realized I didn't need the shirt to feel close to my brother anymore. He was already part of me, in my heart, in my memories, and in every breath I took. And for the first time since he died, I felt peace.